it's Wednesday, 2 p.m. Welcome again to the Burning Tree Program Spotlight. Burning Tree is a family-owned organization that was founded by David Elliott back in 1999. The initial program is Burning Tree Ranch outside of Dallas, Texas in Kaufman. Burning Tree Ranch is a 8 to 14 month co-ed chronic relapse drug and alcohol treatment center for men and women who've had previous attempts at sobriety through treatment and have never implemented a life of abundance. Following the 8 to 14 month treatment process is a year-long transition. In 2004, David Elliott opened and created Burning Tree Lodge. It has now been rebranded as Renewal Lodge when he brought on Peter Pirano, our Chief Operating Officer. Renewal Lodge is a mindfulness approach clinically advanced to the 12 steps. It is an all in-network provider and insurance companies all over the United States we have contracts with. Newest to the Burning Tree family is Awakenings Hill Country. The lead team is Jessica and Josh Slay. And we're very pleased to have an all-women's Women Helping Women treatment program in Fredericksburg. And then in Tucson, Arizona, we have Burning Tree West. Burning Tree West is a young adult program with a collegiate track. It also has sober living availability for men and women. So without any further delay, and I was a little tongue-tied today, I want to welcome Allie Smith with Allie Smith Coaching outside of Scottsdale, Arizona.
Hi, Eric.
Hi, good to see you. Last time you and I saw each other, we went and had lunch in Austin.
Yes. Yeah. It was when we actually could go to a restaurant together.
It was awesome. Mm-hmm. And you're always a good time with you. I always like your energy and your passion for helping people. I was really this morning, Jay told me you were coming on, Jay Staples, and he said that Alexis Spalla and Jeff Corbett wanted to make sure we got you on Spotlight. And when I heard your name, I said, "Oh, that's awesome." So yeah. We have I know you're based out of Scottsdale.
Yes.
And you guys, you and your team, you provide a whole array of services. Tell us about Allie Smith Coaching.
What we do. So first of all, I'm so honored to be here. You've had some great guests on your show, and I don't think of myself as someone that would be a great guest, so I'm just honored, to be able where I can work in this industry and help other people. So I started coaching about 6 years ago. And like I spoke to Eric and Jay earlier about, I worked in Dallas for a really long time, and I got to plug in with that sober all community there and 12-step and work with some amazing people out there. But I'm from Phoenix. I'm from Arizona. I live between Tucson and Phoenix. I'm currently in Phoenix because I have younger children that are still in school. So I had moved back here years ago, and I was working with about 4 women, just, myself as a coach. And I just kept getting calls. I kept getting calls for men that needed help. Like if I knew anyone who did interventions, if I knew anyone who did transports. And so the whole universe just kind of said, you need to start your own company. And one of my really good friends that you also know, Hannah Faubert, we worked with each other in Dallas, and she had already started HOF. So she was a good guide for me with that. And it just kind of evolved into this and shortly getting into it. So I started Allie Smith Coaching Interventions November of 2018. I work with a slew of coaches all over the United States. We now do interventions. I'm not an interventionist. I don't claim to be an interventionist, but I have an amazing woman on board who I work with a lot for interventions. Bobby Horn, she's out of Tucson. So she's down there where your Burning Tree West is. And so we're a good team. We do front and back end services. We do interventions, we do transports, we do coaching. We can also send someone if there's a client newly sober that has to go to a wedding or has to travel, we'll send, a companion with them. So, we like to work, because we look at, when we get sober, it's not just about the loved one, it's about that entire family. And I know that when the family is involved with the loved one, getting help and getting sober and making life changes, when the family's involved, that loved one has 5 times more chance of staying sober long term. And that's huge. So we really get a joy of, getting the client when they're not sober and getting them into treatment. And then working with them the day that they step out of treatment. Because as we know, the whole treatment process is not where it ends. The hardest part is the day you walk out. And what are you doing and what are you set up for? And I know for myself, being a sober woman, that when I got out of treatment, I didn't know how to live sober. I didn't know how to do anything. So I did it with the help of a 12-step program, and I had other mentors in my life, and I had to learn how to live one day at a time, like in every area of my life. And so, my favorite part of it is when we get that person right out of treatment, right when they're about to leave treatment. And we deal with a lot of cases that aren't just about addiction, it's mental illness as well. And so, we get to work with them on an individual basis and break down whatever challenges they're having in all areas of their lives. It's not just about being sober. It's about, mending the relationships with family, with finances. A lot of people we get don't have financial consequences. So that's why working with the family is so important, because we work with them to help them set down boundaries and help them, get resourced with their own help and their own support and therapists and all that. So,
so Allie, you used the word boundaries.
Mm-hmm.
Why are boundaries so important in the process of recovery?
Well, I'll give you a little example. So when I got sober, when I made that decision, which was 10 years ago, it was really because, I came from a great family. I came from money. I came from stuff, but I didn't come from a lot of the consequences. And so my life changed the day that the only person I had left in my life was my mother. And my life changed the day that my mother came to my house and said, you know what? I know everything you've been doing. And if you lie, cheat, or steal again, I will have you arrested. And my mother completely unresourced me and cut me off. And within a month, I got sober. And I still tell her to this day, she helped save my life, And we see a lot of families that don't know how to do that. And so we actually can coach them. We work with them. That's more the whole intervention process. I think Bobby is the one that deals a lot with that. But as a coach, when I'm working with my clients, I'm sort of that like bridge in between them and the family. Because when we get out of treatment, your family is like, well, a lot of families expect everything's different and everything's perfect and changed and fixed. And so, whatever their challenges are, we help set goals for them. We get them on. The most common thing I see is when people get out of treatment, whether going into a sober living or back home to the environment they came from, they don't have a routine that has healthy practices in their life. So, what we do as coaches is we meet with them one-on-one. We find out exactly what is going on, what challenges they're having. We don't work with anyone unless they have mental health professionals involved, meaning we help find you a therapist, a psychiatrist. We make sure that you are taking your meds, but we set them on a daily routine. And so we're installing 12-step meetings and, what are you doing for healthy family practices, working out, therapist stuff, Fun activities. I know for myself, when I got sober, I couldn't go to sporting events because that was all around alcohol. I couldn't play golf. That was all around alcohol. And so, we really work on our clients, like, what are fun things that you like to do that you may be a little cautious about doing on your own right now. So, we get to go do fun activities with our clients. We get to take them to sporting events, concerts, travel, vacations, whatever it is. Holidays are a big one. We'll travel with you to go home for a holiday where, your family is just going to be drinking the whole time. And, it's a trigger and a red flag. So it's the whole family dynamic that we really get to work with.
So to tied together what you're sharing with me and us. So in the coaching process, you're helping alleviate the anxiety and you're creating a relationship with them, getting shoulder to shoulder with them.
Yes.
And then you're showing them that, hey, you've just done this basketball game. We've done this together.
Right.
And guess what? We didn't drink alcohol and we had a great time. So then they get to keep that. And then that propels them into the next opportunity that comes up.
Correct.
So you and your team create relationships with the clients. I'm really intrigued about the family aspect.
Mm-hmm.
Are there ever, let me rephrase this. Families come to you for help and then they don't want to follow through with what you have to ask them to do. What are some creative ways that you have found which gets the family to follow through with your suggestions?
Well, I like to say change shows in our actions. It's not what we're saying, it's what we're doing. And so for those families, we're the voice of our clients. We're their advocate because sometimes they don't know how to have a voice. They don't know how to put boundaries themselves down with their own families. And so we put practices in their life that are like automatic boundaries, and it's amazing to see our clients go, oh, I didn't know I could say that. I didn't know I could say no. I didn't know I didn't have to go. We guide them. And so with those families that are really resistant to change, usually what ends up happening is as the client changes, and if, if their family is not open to getting a therapist or doing their own support groups or reading a book that that we would recommend, we're still working with that client on setting their own boundaries. And so that change is kind of happening through our clients' actions. And that's, I like to say if we make them uncomfortable, then we know that we're doing our job.
Yeah.
Because, we don't change unless we go through uncomfortable practices and actions. And the whole thing with coaching is, think about it, for us who, have mental, disorders and addiction disorders, we've been living these practices for probably a really long time. And so thinking that you're going to go to treatment for 30, 60, 90 days and everything's just going to be fixed when you get out, that's not real life. And so everything we're doing, and it's small little goals and baby steps. Like one of the things that's very common with some of our clients is the relationships they have with their family is financial love. And so it's been really cool to just go, you know what, when you have a conversation with your dad this week, let's not mention anything about money. Let's not mention anything about what are you going to do for me? Just have a conversation, mail him a letter, like installing these healthy practices that are very foreign to them and probably uncomfortable. And then as we know, over time, that whole practice, like it becomes a part of me. I didn't make good choices right away the first 1, 3, 5 years sober. But as time goes on, I get this awareness because I'm practicing healthy things and I'm living a life of recovery now.
Allie, I know one of the things that I really liked hearing when you said uncomfortability when you're talking about that.
Mhm.
One of the things that I when I'm talking to families that have loved ones that, especially at Burning Tree Ranch, I like it describing to them, what's the process of long-term treatment. I always like telling them, when your loved one navigates uncomfortability
Mhm.
comfortably, that is a great indicator that their feet are showing up and showing us
Right.
that they're equipped with the ability to navigate unexpected things.
Right.
And
Right.
that's the essence of what true recovery and the freedom of what recovery, that's
Mhm.
what recovery offers, is the freedom.
The freedom.
Yeah.
Yeah. So we help families find their own freedom,
Yeah.
because, most of us getting sober, like, expect that we're going to get that trust back, and we get upset after, like, well, I'm sober 6 months. Why aren't I allowed in your house anymore? But you've been there for 15 years and lying, and manipulating and all that. So, sometimes I know for myself, I wasn't allowed at my family's house till I was like a year and a half sober. Because there was no trust. And I'm grateful for that, because it took time and it took my actions. But the most rewarding part of my job is when you get those calls from family members that were really uncomfortable and really weren't sold on the idea of coaching, when they start seeing the value of it. And when they're calling you at holidays going, oh my gosh, what is going on? So-and-so, wow, she's never done this before. She's never done that. She's emotionally present. And I think with families, that's one of the biggest things. Like, we have these expectations and a lot of entitlement. And, addiction is a very selfish, self-centered disease. And so, for me, I like to recommend a 12-step support, because those steps is a design for living. And again, those steps are a practice, and it's a continual process.
So you like to get the families involved in their own 12-step, like Al-Anon or Families Anonymous and stuff like that. It's huge.
Yeah, ACA. There's a group out. Well, the founder of PAL Group, Mike Speakman, is out here in Phoenix. Bobby and I have gotten to know him, and he works with families. We work more with the clients, but there's been situations where a family member will call and say, I need a coach. I need coaching just for me on how to deal with my loved one. And what they find out is they're not going so they deal with their loved one. They're going so they deal with themselves.
Yeah. So Allie, how did you meet up with your interventionist?
So actually, it was my sponsor.
Really?
My sponsor in Tucson was at a luncheon, and I had just started Allie Smith Coaching Interventions, and it was just kind of coaching, but I was getting calls for interventions, and I'm not an interventionist. And so I just kind of put it out there in the universe, and she called and said, I have this woman I want you to meet. So I met with Bobby, and halfway between Phoenix and Tucson, and we think alike. She has a passion like mine. She's amazing. We think alike. We don't work on every case together, but we love working on cases together because we have more than one voice working towards the loved one in the family. And it's a big bonus, big win having her. So
a power out here brought you two together.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
And you were open enough to listen. Right. That is another example. I remember 4 years ago, Hannah told me I need to reach out to you and meet you. And then you immediately took my phone call, and I quickly knew that you're a very accountable and very thoughtful, passionate person from just the first phone call I had. So I'm very grateful for you and what Allie Smith Coaching does to help families and their loved ones find recovery.
Thanks, Eric.
And I can't thank you enough. And thank you for your support for Burning Tree and Burning Tree West down in Tucson. And we're very grateful to have you today on Spotlight.
I'm just grateful to be here. And, we don't work just in Arizona. We work all over.
Yes, so, all over the country.
Right. We work all over the country, and I work with other coaches all over the country as well. So, and right now in this whole COVID thing, we've kind of had to change a little bit of our platform. And so, we offer virtual interventions. We do virtual coaching. A big thing right now that I'm hearing is that, a lot of people are getting out of treatment and they have to go home and don't feel comfortable enough to go out, normal interactions in the world. None of us can. And so staying at home and trying to stay sober, if you're not, is terrifying. So, what we do is sometimes we can send a coach where they go live in with them for a week, 2 weeks, and get them set up with a routine, at home routine that includes everything, and setting them up with, telehealth services with their therapist, all that kind of stuff. And then we do virtual coaching from there on. We just kind of cater to whatever their need is. So I'm just really grateful that, we work in essential business and that we get to help in this whole pandemic. And I mean, it helps us as well, stay sane and sober in this as well. So your joy, I remember the first time I met you and your orange, and I was like, what's up with this orange stuff? And, but it's all you, Eric, that's all you are, the orange man.
I appreciate that.
You're great. Yeah.
Well, enjoy your youngest birthday today.
I will. He's 15.
It's very, very honored to have you on Spotlight. Have a great evening.
Thanks,
Bye.
Eric. Bye, Jay.
Bye, Allie. So, Allie Smith with Allie Smith Coaching. Please reach out to us if you need any help around the country. Burning Tree Programs, again, is a family-owned organization founded by David Elliott in 1999. His initial program that he created was Burning Tree Ranch, which is for the chronic relapsing man or woman. Length of stay is 8 to 14 months residential with a year of transition. In 2004, David Elliott created Burning Tree Lodge. Burning Tree Lodge, a couple years ago, rebranded itself as Renewal Lodge by Burning Tree when David brought on Peter Pirano as our Chief Operating Officer. Renewal Lodge is a clinically advanced mindfulness approach to the 12 steps. All major insurance companies in the United States, we are an in-network provider for those insurance companies for your loved ones. Newest to the Burning Tree family is Awakenings Hill Country. It's headed up by Jessica and Josh Slay. Awakenings Hill Country is also an in-network insurance provider for substance use disorder treatment. They have a trauma focus for women, helping women. And it's in Fredericksburg, which is the hill country of Texas. Very beautiful setting. And then Burning Tree West. It is a young adult program in Tucson, Arizona, about 1.5 miles east of the University of Arizona. We also have a collegiate track with this program, and we have sober living beds available for men and women. So, Burning Tree Program Spotlight, thank you for listening, and we'll see you tomorrow.